On the 5th of May 2025, anyone who made their way to Skype.com was met by this page. Skype had been shut down. After connecting billions of people for over 20 years, Skype was now gone forever. But what happened to them? Did Microsoft actually ruin them, or did they do that to themselves? Today, we're going to be looking at the rise and fall of Skype and how Microsoft had the choice to save them, but chose not to. This is the untold story of Skype. Before Skype, we had the telephone. Communication was very crude and basic. For instance, if I wanted to make an international call, all I needed was a phone number and a whole lot of money. It was simple, just absurdly expensive. But as technology continued to improve, the prices of making these phone calls went down as well. And when the internet came around, people weren't just sending emails anymore. They wanted to talk, and the internet gave them a place for that. The early versions of this worked, just not for everyone. When the 2000s came, a call for something new was needed. A group of Estonian programmers got together and made a simple program, a service that allowed people to make phone calls over the internet for free. They decided to call it Skyper. Skyper wasn't the first of its kind, but it's how they made it that set them apart. Other services were either pay to use or very hard to understand. Skyper was none of those. It was very easy to use and straight to the point. On their first day, Skyper managed to gain over 10,000 users, and what's surprising is that all of these was from word-of-mouth campaigns. This proved how much potential they had, since even without any formal marketing, they were still able to find this much of an audience. By now, you probably already know that Skyper isn't what we call the service today. That's because a short while after release, they faced some availability issues and were forced to drop the R to just Skype. They continued to grow so much that it got to a point where it was almost impossible to ignore them. I mean, why would you? They were basically free to use, and their call quality was remarkable. Instead of using middlemen like the companies before them, Skype connected you directly, cutting all the middlemen out. And if a direct connection failed, Skype used helper computers to pass along the connection. Easy and cheap. This reduced their workload on Skype, allowing them to scale as much as possible without the bills racking up with them. Skype became a verb. Want to talk to someone? Skype them. Send them a message? Skype them. What about that one uncle you haven't seen in 5 years? Skype was easy to use, effortless, and weirdly intimate. They weren't just a product anymore. They were a movement. However, being popular didn't pay their bills. Skype was big, yes, but they were free. And if I'm coming to you as an investor, that's probably not what you want to hear. That's until 2005 when they introduced Skype Out. This was their first paid feature that allowed Skype users to call landline numbers, something that wasn't possible before. This started to attract some big companies who now saw a promise in Skype and wanted a piece of what they had. In 2005, eBay bought Skype for $2.5 million. What should have been a win seemingly changed overnight. eBay bought Skype not because they wanted to grow them, but to get a piece of what they had. eBay was a commerce platform, and Skype was supposed to integrate into it. They wanted Skype to allow buyers and sellers to communicate via phone call. Here's the issue: when you're shopping online, do you really want to talk to the seller? 9 out of 10 times, you don't. And with eBay, this was exactly the case. When they introduced the feature, no one used it. This was because eBay wasn't for talking to strangers. Like, Skype was growing fast, but because eBay didn't really want them for that, they didn't really know what to do with that growth. Eventually, they gave up. They cut their losses and sold it off. On the surface, this was great news for Skype, but if we look closer, Skype was struggling. They were growing faster than ever, but not really going anywhere. Enter Microsoft. In 2011, they bought Skype for $8.5 billion, 3 times what eBay sold it for. Why? Like, Microsoft didn't even need Skype. They had their own. In fact, they had 2. Why get a third one? They wanted Skype to be the poster child for Windows 8, their new operating system that no one had asked for. And if you thought that was it, they were only getting started. They redesigned Skype from the ground up, forcing users to log in with Microsoft accounts, and if you already had one, good luck on being able to migrate. And if you somehow found your way through, the call quality was somehow worse than before. Early on, we mentioned helper computers. If a connection couldn't be made directly, they used helper computers to pass along the connection. This technology might have worked in 2003, but not anymore. With the onset of mobile phones, this technology became greatly unreliable. Phones could go offline at any second, cutting the connection loose, greatly messing up Skype. Although Microsoft switched to proper servers, the damage had already been done. Skype was not the very thing it avoided all along. After the launch of Windows 8 backfired, Microsoft had a choice. They could either fix Skype or move on. So they did what they had to do. They moved on. You see, Microsoft had leverage. They always had the upper hand. They'd killed off Messenger, which meant that they still had one chance. Link. They rebranded it to Skype for Business, a cleaner, more stable version built specifically for the office world. For a while, they pretended that both could coexist. Skype for Business for work, Skype for home. And for a while, they were right. But Skype for Business was doing good. A little too good. You see, in favor of trying something new, Microsoft had accidentally built a rival to themselves. And it was working. By 2015, Skype wasn't king anymore. They weren't even cool. Someone else was. A little company called Zoom. Zoom might not have had Skype's reach, but they had something Skype didn't. Clarity. To join a meeting, you only needed one click. No account needed, just a click. Their call quality was better, higher meeting capacity, and most of all, no Microsoft account needed. You see, Zoom wasn't even competing with Skype. They were building everything Skype failed to. Meanwhile, Skype kept stumbling. Updates were messy, features would appear and vanish with no explanation, and the call quality? Inconsistent at best. Skype wasn't fun anymore. It was annoying. At this point, Microsoft wasn't even trying to hide it. They poured all of their energy into Skype for Business, and when this new service started doing better than Skype, they rebranded again and gave it a new name. Microsoft Teams. But the only thing that wasn't a team was the people at Skype. Teams had a clear mission, an all-in-one office tool, and they were good at it. Meanwhile, Skype became a lab rat for new experiments they didn't want to run on Teams. When 2020 rolled around, COVID struck. The world shut down overnight. With everyone locked up indoors, they needed a way to talk, and the only place left to do that was online. This was Skype's moment, the moment that they were built for. This was the last chance to redeem themselves. But that didn't happen. While Zoom shot from 10 to 300 million, Skype barely moved, going from 20 to 40 million users. Even Teams did better. They went from 40 to 150 million. Skype, although being the original, the pioneer, was nowhere to be found. In the years that followed, Microsoft quietly faded them out. No press release, no big announcement. They just stopped being mentioned. Skype faded away into the distance while new platforms took its place. Zoom became the default for businesses, while Discord became the default for Hangouts. But maybe that's okay. Maybe this is how things were supposed to end. Skype may be gone forever, but the people it connected aren't. Skype walked so everybody else could run. And maybe that was the plan all along.